Everything is not funny. They will blame the fun. I play. My neighbor press one. He goes the fun apart.
ABC, Nigeria, from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom.
This one Nigeria is all tumbling. Everything is not funny. They will blame the fun. I play. My neighbor press one. He goes the fun apart.
Good evening, everyone. Mazes okay speaking to us. I hope you all can hear me loud and clear. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Testing the mic. 1, 2, 3. This evening, we are going to look into serious matters as it concerns the entity called Nigeria. Are you aware that Buhari and the government has finally agreed that they bought vehicles, and they say it's security vehicles, operational vehicles for the Republic of Benin? They haven't disclosed to us the ones they bought for the Republic of Chad. Maybe not. And also, I hope some of you have seen the picture of someone who allegedly is disguised and is running is running away from Nigeria. I hope I hope you guys I hope, let me get the picture, because I hope you'll be able to help me find out the individual in this picture, because I've been trying to find out the individual in this picture. Sadly, I haven't been able to find it, but maybe you may help me to find out about the individual that is running away and going to someone else. So, as you all know, I saw many of you in the United Kingdom last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, when I came for the Igbo cultural event. And last week, the Anambra community in Manchester also invited me. I did go, and I did enjoy myself. A very fantastic event. In the absence of flogging people during the New Year festival and stuff, in the absence of really the ungun men, the unman gun of the Southeast. So people now, as it appears, prefer to, have these celebrations done elsewhere. But be that is may, it was nice, and I must commend every one of you. And I will be issuing us a video, because when I left Manchester, I was trying to drive around. I get to places. I went to the National Museum in Liverpool, and I saw the history of, predominantly in one section of the African continent, predominantly Nigeria. And that's where you had the history of Edo or Benin, and the history of the Southeast and the Igbo people. There is something new I learned. When it was a case of saying the Southeast, and they were trying to get and talk about the subsets of groups of people within the Southeast, started talking about the Ibibio, the Anan. And I'm like, okay. You see, another nomenclature that was created in 1995 added another layer of confusion, which is the South-South. But again, that is a story for another day. That's not the reason why we are here. I'm just giving us an update why I have been so busy driving around. And many of you in the Netherlands, I might be coming over to Netherlands very soon. I'm going to drive around Europe. After that, I'm not, But there is something again. Am I coming back to United Kingdom? There is another, but I won't say that until they pay for advert. There is another Igbo event happening in the United Kingdom for Igbo event, global Igbo. So nothing more than that will be said. They have to pay. So if they pay, they will run adverts for them. But let us come down to this conversation this evening. Are you aware that Nigeria is buying operational vehicle? Just for one moment, think about it. I've made this argument today. Do we need to worry that Nigeria is actually buying this operational vehicle for their neighboring countries in order to enhance their own security? Or should British, Americans, and the European Union, should their citizens be worried when they spend their money in training Nigerian police? Are they the same thing? When they spend their money to buy military gadgets, police gadgets for our police, are they the same thing? When we buy these equipment and we buy these vehicles, operational vehicles for these countries, are they the same? You see, this truth wouldn't have come out if my good friend, David Hundein, whom I did interview last 2 weeks on this platform, when he talked about the Tinubu drug, when he proved to the world that Tinubu was a drug convict who forfeited close to $500,000 of drug money and ran away to Nigeria to continue his business, and eventually became a senator, became a governor, and now on the verge of becoming a president. The guy is the one that woke up a couple of days like he normally does. That guy is on steroid, I tell you. David Hundain, the guy, knocks it. So it's only when he tweeted the document, made a clarification and calling on the president to make that clarification as to what has happened to that money. That was only when the federal government began to speak. Let me see if I can find David here. Quickly, let me share my screen. I'll show you David and his tweet. Let me share my screen and let you see. Oh, I'm a good singer. Fly me to the moon. Okay, this is David here. Now, this is the conversation I had with him. It was centered around Bola Ahmed Tinubu drugs case. If you want to read him, he is the publisher of West Africa Weekly. So go in there and read. Now, what David tweeted, David, what was that? Where was that again? Hold on, let me quickly. David was the one asking that question, and that question prompted the federal government to eventually come out. So it means if David never asked that question, right, we wouldn't have. Yes, okay, hold on. And this is getting interesting because we'll come to a point where you will see that this is the type of car. This is the type of car we bought. This story get Kelly. But let me quickly. Yes, this is when this he broke this news 2 days ago. He says, "I'm going to put out this tweet." So this is David here, putting out. I hope you can hold on. Let me see. Am I sharing my screen already? Oh, okay. Yes, I can. Let me make it bigger. So this is David here putting out this tweet, right? Saying that he's going to do that, and he's questioning that if government is spending 1.4 billion to buy vehicles for the government of Niger, and this is the approval. Now the question is, and why is it that this was done, and this thing was the payment was made to Kaura Motors Limited. That's a family business. And what David Dunn has is just to try to see if he can pay money into Kaura in order to get the proper account. To see that here, Kaura Motors Nigerian Limited. Again, if you can go to CSC, you can still see that. But when he propped this question, the following now began to happen. The government of Federal Republic of Nigeria began to, in this case here, began to answer questions.
Finance, showing that the president approved the release of fund in February 2022 and a to Aram's Niger Limited to supply the sports utility vehicles for the Republic of Niger, sparking outrage among Nigerians. Critics are questioning the priority of the government's funding of a foreign entity during an economic downturn. Fielding questions from State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Finance justifies the purchase of 10 Toyota Land Cruiser V8 vehicles for neighboring country Niger.
Let me just say that over time, Nigeria has had to support its neighbors, especially immediate neighbors, to enhance their capacity to secure their countries as it relates to us. This is not the first time that Nigeria has supported Niger, Cameroon, or Chad, and the president makes an assessment as to what is required based on the request of their presidents, and such requests are approved and the interventions are provided, is to enhance their capacity to protect their own territory as it relates to security also in Nigeria. Well, Nigerians have a right to ask questions, but also the president has a responsibility to make an assessment of what is in the best interest of the country, and I cannot question that decision myself.
On his part, the Minister of Information and Culture responds to the alarm raised by the civil society groups over the threat of insecurity to the 2023 elections.
Yes, it is true that some groups have been worried and concerned whether, given the state of insecurity in the country, there can be elections. But I can assure you there will be elections, because the federal government would do everything possible, not just to make sure there's election, but to secure the country. I'm sure you heard yesterday from the president that the commanders have been given everything they need, and they've been given all the powers they need to bring this insurgency and this banditry to an end. As for the issue of whether the service chiefs should resign or not, I think only the appointer can make such a decision.
The council approved memos from various ministries, including the sum of 2.2 billion naira for personal vehicles and security gadgets for the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
60 utility vehicles, including communication equipment installed in the vehicles, at the sum of 1,835,108,613 naira 95 kobo. In addition to that, council also approved supply of.
So now, people, what's your take? Do you think it is a wise decision to give these operational vehicles to Niger government? We go to China, we borrow. We go to America, we buy these Tucano jets, armored cars, vehicles. We buy all these things. When it comes to Niger Republic, our neighboring countries, we may not and we cannot lend them, we cannot borrow them. We just buy it for them free of charge. What's happening here? I'm not insinuating anything, but it is also very important and very instructive that when you look at this, when you look at the type of vehicle, 2020 Land Cruiser, when you look at the types of vehicle, you ask me, is this the type of vehicle that if you give this type of vehicle to the Nigerian police, they will arrest even the one who hasn't committed any crime because they will be working there at night. But this is the type of vehicle we give to the Niger Republic, free of charge. I think Buhari and his government, you guys need to get something. 1.4 billion naira. And our Minister of Finance is
Support
basically
its
declaring,
neighbors, especially immediate neighbors,
yeah,
to
as it was said in
enhance
the
their
other video, that we're buying this for our immediate neighbor. I don't know what your take is, but I think that is obviously going further and further away from the realities and from the things happening within the other continent, Niger Republic. What is so interesting about this Niger Republic of a thing? Yeah, Henry Obiajuru. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes. Olun Obashum DJ says it's 60 vehicles. You know, Rosie says, says, okay, Buhari is the king of impunity. No one will do anything. Well, honestly, I don't know. The next thing you hear that this convoy, these vehicles were being taken from. Listen, sometimes I say these things. You guys think that it's okay, it's okay. I won't be surprised. We wake up next week or in 2 weeks' time, and we hear that as we were delivering these vehicles to the Niger Republic, they were ambushed. And those vehicles has been captured by the not Nigerian, but Nigerian uh, Boko Haram. And the vehicles are in their hands now. But we can assure you,
I assure you that our government. But I assure you. I want to assure you. That I assure you.
they can assure us. Because when they assure us, what are we going to do? There is nothing we can do other than look at them and say, how did we actually get here? Now, many of you may have seen the video of Zack Orji saying that he's no longer, or rather, that we will be supporting the Jagabandis, that is the Shaky Master, when that he will be supporting. I mean, I said, no one, I begrudge him not, no one, basically holds that against him. But the only thing that I am so curious to know is why the sudden change? Because I am aware that in the last, by April 2022, I was among those that organized the GNC event that brought all the Igbo presidential aspirants at that point to Abuja, and there was a Nollywood video produced at that time, and that Nollywood video was very clear as to the content therein. In that video, which we published in the media at that point, Zack Orji was making a case for the Igbo presidents at that time. At that time, the conversation was all the parties should yield to all the parties should yield their for equity, fairness, and what have you. All the argument people put out together that all the parties should yield and give that to Onyibo. But obviously, that didn't happen. And many of you have said that you are angry that Zack Orji did what he did. I said, no, it's actually, I like something like that because let the man be exposed. Now, let me play us a video of what Zack said and how he endorsed whoever he endorsed. I will show you in the video that I was involved in April 2022, where he actually and what he said. So for me, it's always very hard for me to reconcile what was said at that point and what is now being said because it's totally opposite direction. So let's listen to him.
Hi, my name is Zack Orji, actor, filmmaker, and vice president of the Ambassadors of Voice for Change. My support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is both experiential and personal. I have lived in Lagos for over 40 years of my life. I have always known this man as a chief crusader for the democratic consolidation of our country, Nigeria.
Okay, so that's what he said. Let me not give him much airtime. He's not paying me. But if you see here, that's a snippet of what people have caught from a video. You can see our logo here, published by the media. This was done second week because the event we had, my birthday was on the 24th, the event was on the 25th. That was the same day we inaugurated P2B Support Network in Abuja. GNC event happened at the ICC. I was there with my good brother Henry Shield. I was there with Dr. Joe Abba. I was there with Dr. Lomefo, the Ebonyi State Governor, His Excellency Mr. Peter. Many of us were out there, and this video was what, as part of the Nollywood support, in line with that. This was what that said.
And I want to state that it is only fair and just and in the interest of equity and natural justice that the presidency should be zoned to the southeast. If we must have peace and unity and national cohesion in Nigeria.
Now, I can tell you because I was, like Ojukwu wrote in his book, because I was involved. And because in this case also I was involved, I can also tell you that no one coerced him to say the things he said. These were things that he believed in. Now, just opposing it to the old one he said, then I then begin to ask myself, Oga, what happened? Waiting up. But again, many have said that money has exchanged hands. I would never say something like that money has exchanged hands, because I don't know. There is also a news that people now say it was, or rather it is fake news also, where Nkemoro came out to say Nollywood actor Nkemoro, aka Osote, reject 10 million from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Chief Peter Edochie, aka Ogadagidi, reject 50. Sometimes I want to laugh because the way we call this million, you ask yourself whether in our party, why aren't I making these millions? The way we just dance and bounce around with millions. I say, well, I know why I'm not making these millions, because those of you watching me now, you don't pay tax. None of you pay tax. How many months? Nobody is paying tax. So that's why Mazi can never make millions. But don't worry, I will tell you that in my radicalness, I can always make sure that the spirit catches up with you.
I am not a man. I don't smoke. I am not a man. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Everything that you saw me behave and my radicalness is a possession of the Holy Ghost. I'm a warlord.
See, I will tell you that Mazi is okay. He's a warlord. I'm a warlord. I'm a warlord. Even if the one you use in casting your decking, I'm a warlord. That's what I tell you. Okay. So that is Zack Orji, and I can tell you that for me, Zack appears to be confused, because in one breath, he is this eloquent person that you think is standing for fairness, equity, and in a successive session, the next time you hear him, he's talking about things that you think, hold on, roll up, bro. What is this guy talking about? Okay? But that is by the way. That is what he believes in. And like I said before, I begrudge him now that is actually what he believes. Okay? But bear in mind that the way things are happening, you know, Nigerians, everybody last will come out of their closet and everybody will begin to endorse whoever they wish to endorse. But one thing we have, and the one thing we must call that we never and we do not support violence. What you can always do is support the person and the candidate that you want. Do not, on no account, threaten others. Okay? But you know that this man, the writer, the Yoruba man, Sam, wrote something that I found a little bit troubling, which he called the obituary. And he alluded to the fact that the whole thing about people being, and he was really disturbed. But there is a response that I found so well done, and that is by a good guy. Troops, Chief Troops, I'll share the link to us in those of you watching live now. Let me quickly share the link. We posted it on the media. I would want you to go with it because that is what I call matured removal of trust. Fela said the equalization of pant and trousers. What this man did with this response to another say is to say, we no be the same level past level. So if you go, you read it. It's titled "Everyone's Obituary is Inevitable." William Carl's son, or matter saying, cleans your journalism. And when you look at his face, he's an elderly man, and he really took him to the cleaner. Really, well, not really necessarily take him to the cleaners, but he explained something and asked where is Sam coming from with all these bitterness. And he asks questions that I think every person of conscience must listen to this. And I will take this excerpt and I will read it out. Now, he asks, why is it that you are so much suffering from Islamophobia? He says, isn't it the height of Islamophobia? We may go back in history. Before Tinubu, there were other Yoruba presidential candidates, including Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Chief Nko Abiola, General Olusegun Obasanjo, Chief Gani Fayomi, and Chief Olufalaye, whom Oboniyan stepped down for. None of these personages indexed their presidential ambition on stopping the intertribal animosity between the Yoruba and the Igbo. As a matter of fact, Chief Philip Ezubuilo Umadi Igbo, and one of the oldest senior advocate of Nigeria was Papa Awolowo's running mate in the 1979 presidential election. That is to tell you, when we had the South. Now, he goes on to question him, but the part that I like so much is here. He says, it was not the Igbo that nullified Chief Abiola's victory in 1993 presidential election. That is a fact. Think about it. Reflect on it. Rather, the Igbo were in the forefront of the Nedeko. Men like Rear Admiral Ndubisi Kalu, Obama, late now, what is his name again? The publisher in Enugu. Many of them, many of them. And he continued to say, Igbo, according to a list in Battle Line, Adventures in Journalism and Politics, Chief Sheung Oshoba's autobiography, published in 2020 by Diamond Publication Limited. They include Commodore Ebuti Kiwen, the late Admiral Ndobisika, exactly the person I just mentioned now. Okwadiki Ibuku, that is Chief Dr. Ezife, Professor A.O. Anya, Ralph Obio, Chief Empire Khan, Chief Michael Anyu, and Chief Idu, Chief Vincent Muzibu, and Dr. Umar Elaz, a man I have so much respect. He is now, I think he's 94 years old. One of these days, just to get to really bring him back to refresh our memories and history on this platform. Now, and he goes on to tell you that these individuals, the people you're trying to attack, trying to paint with one brush, trying to do everything as a political higgy-hagger in order to rubbish them, not in any way, shape, or form defend the Yorubas, the crimes of India. We present to you a candidate, a world-class candidate, and now seek Nigerians to vote for me. Suddenly we will see, oh, Peter Obi is Igbo candidate. Oh, Peter Obi is Biafran candidate. Oh, Peter Obi is Southeast candidate. Yet, no one has ever said that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who supported OPC as a governor and used them to work, which eventually metamorphosed into the new Yoruba Nation agitation now. And I think the people are so smart to actually separate the two. Those who agree with restructuring Nigeria are not necessarily those that say Yoruba Nation now, break Nigeria, or let us go our own way. So why must the story change when it comes to an Igbo person? And that is exactly what Sam has done here. The response so far published on this, over 10, and Nigerians are not still, stopping, because Nigerians found that publication very, very irritating. And it was so that I found that very, very disgusting. If you're watching me for the first time, please kindly do like this stream, subscribe, and click on the share button, please. Only 2 people like the stream. Wow. I'm not the motivator. Anyway, so as I've said before, people, we now conclude here. Recall that last week, no, we didn't do it, not actually last week. I think there was either over the weekend or Monday. Wike came back from foreign trip. And as he came back, he granted interview for the first time and accused Atiku and called Atiku a liar. Well, that is his fellow would say regular trademark. So it is regular trademark. In that interview, he went further to accuse Reuben Abati, saying that Reuben Abati, because Reuben, in one of the morning shows that they did, Reuben went ahead and said that Wike is crying like a small child
for the people's
that needs lollipop. That if he's given lollipop, he can, he can maybe stop crying, and asked Atiku to go and reconcile with him. That did not go down with Wike very well. And Wike, said some things about Abati. And Abati now had the following to say about Wike. Said that Wike has no intellectual capacity to lecture him. I said, wow. Wike touched the tail of Abati in this interview.
Democratic Party, that the party has been reduced to the level of the tantrums and the melodrama of one individual called Nyesom Wike, 59-year-old Nyesom Wike, who thinks that the party belongs to him. I hope that the party itself will take part of the blame, because after the 2015-2019 general elections, when everybody abandoned the party, it was Wike that stepped in there using resources. Well, I don't know where those resources came from, but he stood firm to defend the party, to keep the party alive, and to keep other members of the party at the highest level alive. And hence, he developed a sense of entitlement. And he thought
in a royalistic manner, that, you know, the top prize, the top position in the party was meant for him. But when he was disappointed, now he's gone ahead to throw tantrums. He didn't make it to the presidential, you know.
So Ruben Abati is saying that he's throwing tantrums. Now, and if you think about, there are other presidential aspirants that actually went to that election and lost. Amechi, that came second in APC, we haven't heard from him. The star boy, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, who is now Yemi'd and appears to be yearing around, he's still there. Heaven hasn't fallen. But why Wike? Why?
Yesterday, Professor Jerry Ghana, who is one of the founding fathers of the party, says we are one. Well, that contradicts what Nyesom Wike himself pointed out in the interview that he granted at the Port Harcourt International.
And that, you know, that Port Harcourt Airport interview was as he was just arriving. Sometimes journalists can, maybe he didn't rest, or because if you look at his eyes, his eye was as if...
Important point that I've seen is a point made by, you know, former governor of Jigawa State, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Alhaji Sule Lamido, who says that, look, the party is supreme. And I hear some Wike, the governor of Rivers State, should follow the example of the likes of, you know, former governor Peter Odili, the example of Rotimi Amechi, the example of the vice president of Nigeria today, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, you know, and others. The Senate president, Dr. Hamad Lawan, who in failing to get the ticket have shown greater maturity. And then you have one individual in one political party just distracting everybody's attention with his own immaturity. And then in that interview, Governor Wike was trying to teach journalism. He even singled me out. Well, Governor Wike is not in a position to teach Ruben Abati journalism. He calls it...
This is when Abati started spitting fire. You know that he has touched the tiger tail, that Wike cannot teach him journalism. I mean, on this one, I agree. Because it's not because Wike is a governor, but no, when it comes to intellectual parapoism, there is
Abati journalism. He calls it investigative journalism. Because we went to do an interview, I put it to him that we asked all the right questions. And I've been in this media space. I've been writing for the Nigerian press since 1985.
1985. Then he will now question, where has Wike been, or where it's Wike in 1985.
I don't know where Governor Wike was at that time. And I've been on television every day since the year 2000. Thanks to Professor Pachitomi, President Goodluck Jonathan, and Prince Uduka Obagbena. Governor Wike does not have the capacity or the intellect to teach me, Ruben Abati, journalism.
Abati, you just versed now and smacked your mic. You said
have the capacity or the intellect to teach me, Ruben Abati, journalism. Okay? If he wants to study my body of work over the several decades behind me, he will spend more than a year just trying to figure out the amount of work that I have done. But I think it's important, you know, for him to moderate his anger and to just allow Nigerians to focus on serious issues.
I agree. Because I know that Wike will be watching this. After watching this, he will just do his head like this. And say, see, I told Nigerians to give me this power because I want to solve this problem.
Why do you want to become Nigeria's president? I want to become Nigeria's president because, one, we're in problems. And I want to offer myself to the people of this country to solve such problems.
So we are in problem, and he's coming to create more problem to solve that problem in order to move away from the problem that we have created within the problem that we have. If he didn't
if you don't know what to do with your head, you don't know what to do with your head. If he didn't dare, he didn't dare. He didn't dare.
If he didn't dare, he didn't dare. Eh? If Ruben Abati can challenge you, call you that you done since 1985, why don't you bring your brother and tell him that you are from the village of Oporum?
Before I go on, let me postulate from the Franz Fanonian dictum, which stipulates that the dialectics of reconciling two conflicting ideas is the algebra of revolution.
You see, what we need now is the conflicting idea to mean the name of algebra, whatever. You see, many of you are saying that, that's what I don't understand. Many of you are saying that, what's the word failed me. Okay. Let me quickly remind myself what I was about to say. Many of you are saying that Ruben Abati is biased. And I think in this case, I would say Ruben Abati is not biased. What he did was to defend himself. Could he be biased in some areas? Yes. The story I treated before coming to this, which is the story of Omatse writing obituary about. Now, here is when in the studio, when they talked about this story. I'm only trying to play this to see from the body language if Ruben was biased. Listen to this.
Of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, are threatening his life. Omashaye, in a now viral tweet, asked Peter Obi to call his supporters to order. Otherwise, he will be held responsible if anything were to happen to him. His tweet comes hours after an opinion article he wrote entitled Obituary, published on Monday, alluded to the fact that Obi's candidacy has turned out to be an excuse for closet Biafrans to betray open emotions about Biafra without being accused of it. The article also reads in part that Obi has become a shelter for both miscreants and activists, acting like revolutionaries, and that Obi is happy to be their catharsis, but acting as though he is the saint of Nigerian politics. Obi supporters have accused him of bias. Let's take some reactions. Well, this is from Samuel, who wrote, "You wrote an article with obituary, boldly written with Peter Obi's picture. Is that not a death threat? Now you're trying to play the victim. Samuel Mashaye, man up and face whoever is threatening you. Report to the police. Don't drag Obi into it." Well, Garanta wrote, "What were we expecting from Nation newspaper owned by Tinubu? This is why the media must be protected at all costs. As the watchdog of the society, it should be protected from being influenced by moneybags and politicians." Dr. Abati, over to you, because you write articles. I don't know where you draw the line here. I mean, I thought that was quite...
Now, at this point, this is what I want us to point out. Listen to Abati's take, and you now listen to Rifai's take. You understand?
Right, harsh, the obituary word. I don't know what you thought.
Well, Samuel Mashaye is my friend. Yeah. I not only write articles, I was chairman editorial board of the Guardian newspapers for 11 years. And I'm also still a columnist. But just one point. Nobody should be threatened.
Yes.
Now, bias number one. My late dad normally tells me that before you start separating fight, start with finger pointing. Fairness would have meant that he would start with whoever caused it. Before Omata says, saying he's being threatened, I would say, come on. If anybody, I do not support violence, but if anybody threatens you, for Christ's sake, report to DSS, to Army or whatever. The telephone number is there. Let them track the individual. Let them deal with the individual. No one supposed to threaten you. But the first point should have been that article was in error. But Abati failed
by expressing an
opinion.
All he said was that he was expressing.
I think is the most important point. Because Samuel Mashaye, he's saying, look, he's now being threatened, and if anything happens to him, Peter Obi and the obedient, community should be held responsible. He just expressed an opinion. If a journalist says something you don't like, you have the right of reply. Do a rejoinder.
Right.
Okay, that's all that is there. And I don't think anybody should be threatened for,
Now, that is when a man talks tongue-in-cheek. In this case, even Abiola, first round, didn't scratch the surface until Rufai came.
Say it.
Yes.
I am that superstitious that I can't say it.
Yeah.
But when we had Peter Obi on this show, I actually asked him about some of the excesses of the obedience, and it's got nothing to do with him. But those people are being excessive in support of him. So I'm sure his voice would go a long way, and he's used it in the past to try and calm things down. He has done, because I don't think he personally sanctions that kind of thing. I do feel very poorly for Sam Omashaye and what he's going through, and he's not the first. You'll recall Reno Omokri made a similar claim about being threatened. That is unacceptable.
Yes.
We have to be civilized in our critique.
I agree with you.
I don't know why everybody is talking about, why everybody is bothering. It's just like somebody stuck dagger in your plate, in your chest, and you're threatening to, deal with the individual, and everybody is just bothered about your threat, and no one is bothering about. This is self-defense. No one is bothering about what actually led to it. But let's see if Rufai will come to the rescue.
Rufai.
All right, don't threaten anybody. Please keep it clean. Let's keep it based on the issues. If you feel not happy about the things Samuel Omashaye did right, go and write a very strong rejoinder.
And that rejoinder has been written, and that rejoinder, the best rejoinder out of all the rejoinder written, is the one written by Chuks Ilebunam, followed by Valentine Obianyem.
I've been seeing strong rejoinders, right of reply, what wrote on side of it. Let's keep it on the issues. Because you see, a lot of people too were angry was because he didn't give.
You see, Rufai is the only person that is trying to tell you why there was this reaction ab initio. People didn't just wake up and say, bring this man, do him this, do that. There's something prompted it. Why is no one talking about it until Rufai said
it? On the issues, references to IPOP and rights and things like that, which was a little bit overboard for me. Let's keep.
You see, it was an overboard. Forget that a little bit. It was an overboard. No one does that.
Keep it on the issues. Let's keep the campaign clean. Let's focus on a lot of issues. And let's pray that this insecurity stops so we can even have elections in 2023. Let's pray.
Absolutely.
Pray.
Now, to see that this topic made Ruben Abati so uncomfortable, look at his body language. Not
well,
like
when I saw that
keep saying
picture,
that.
I was mortified. You say we're super.
You see, I was mortified. At this point, Ruben will be wishing, I wish I just left this room. Let me not be here where this
just
is.
bunch.
Yes.
But I was like,
you can't. This is not in that society where you put obituary then put somebody's picture. It's not done.
It's not done.
Well, thank you all for your great analysis.
Okay, thank you all. You see, it is not done. At least 3 people in there agree that it is not done. Well, because that's Ruben's friend and someone who he's worked with. Maybe that's blinded his perception, or maybe too because he's seeing it from the same regional and ethnic perception as a Yoruba man. I do not know, but let us be fair and let's all be fair to all. Please, 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 kindly subscribe, share, and like this stream. On that note, I'll say I'll see you guys all tomorrow. I don't want this to get much longer than this. But bear in mind that we are acquiring 2022 powers. If the government is giving the people of Niger some vehicles, we are going to Onitsha and we are acquiring some powers. Some of them are Gandujade, some of them are Gandujad, but it works. Some of them are liquid metal. But whichever way that is, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much. I am still Moses.
I have so many power. I have Abito Sheka. I have never touched those ones. I have Dabus Kabash. Yes. I have Ganduka Gandusan.
Beg Iwalonius.
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
ABC Nigeria, Nigeria from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom.
This one Nigeria is all tumbling. I'm beautiful water. Everything is not funny. Aeroplane is funny. I play. My neighbor breast fall. He goes to